defines sin. I know oftentimes sin is defined in the Bible as rebellion against God. And that's true. But here is a way that probably hits closer to home. Sin, you see, love defines sin and Christian perfection. Sin is focusing agape love onto ourselves, while perfection is shifting this love of God, is shifting this love towards God and our fellow men. Here is the trick. It is not I that love you, but it is by me first obeying the Spirit who put the gift of love in my heart. This then brings us back into the image of God. Thus love is looking outwards and doing good to others while allowing God to work in us. This is the first principle of the outcome. It is that we love others as He has loved us. We must say yes to God today and follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. If we shall be like Him when He shall appear, this brings the question, can we be sinless? And a question today that we seem to ponder, yet many believe that it's not possible. In character building, Christ is our example. He placed Himself ahead of the human race to show us how to live in a way that God's approved. Now, it is written in John, and I'm about to come to the end. It is written in John, whosoever abideth in Him sinneth not. Whosoever had seen Him, whosoever sinneth have not seen Him, neither knew Him. In 1 John 3:9, he says, whosoever is born of God do not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin, because he is born of God. Thus Christian perfection comes when we become obedient to the Spirit of God. We must love like God and forgive as God forgives. This is Christian perfection. Perfection is not refrained from a set of deeds, work, or activity, although when we walk in perfection, there are some places we will not go, and some things we will refrain from doing. It is doing and performing loving action to others while fellowshipping Christ. Christ tells us in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, 43 to 48, ye heard that it has been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor, hate thy enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemy, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, pray for them which despitefully use you, persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For He maketh His sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publican do the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publican do so? But be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Now, when you say this, a lot of theologians get into this big debate. And they say the word here comes from the Greek and it means mature. You see, it does not matter. Since it's being referenced to the Father, whatever the Father is, you must be. You see, since it is in that context, we must understand the core context of Matthew 5 is love for others. Notice Christ said, love your enemy. So here, we must come to a state where we forgive like the Father does, and we must love like the Father. It is true love that we become conqueror over all that is in the world. Now, Paul says, owe no man nothing, but to love one another. For he that loveth another have fulfilled the law. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not be a false witness, thou shalt not covet, even if
If there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is fulfilling the law. You see, therefore, if I love you, how could I speak badly about you? If I love you, how could I steal from you? You see, it is love that will cause me to go after you when you're going down the wrong road and plead with you to come back. It is love that will provoke you to do good. You see, it is always love. And notice here, notice John. No, I'm going back to the first statement because I said, he that is born of God cannot sin, for his seed remaineth in him. And we know Galatians chapter 5, I think is verse 15, it says that, actually Galatians chapter 3:15, I think it is. It says that the seed which is Christ. So Christ, when Christ is in me, I cannot sin. And the answer is why? Watch this. Because the Bible said, he that is born of God cannot sin. What does it mean to be born of God? There are only two definitions in the Bible. And I don't care how people turn it. I don't care how scholarly they get. You see, sometimes we fool ourselves in scholarly work and we become atheists. We become evolutionists. Because first definition is that when we're born of God, Christ lives in me. The second definition, which the Bible spends more time on and which we're going to look at, is the one that is given in 1 John 4:7. He said, beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. Every man that loveth is born of God. And knoweth God. He that loveth not his brother, he that loveth not, knoweth not God. For God is love. Love, it is love that overcomes sin. To love others means that we are born of God. And when we are born of God, we cannot sin, because his seed remaineth in us. Yes, love is Christ. When Christ is love. When we love others as Christ loved us and gave himself for us, then what is true in Christ is also true in me. This is 1 John 2:8. It says, whatsoever is true in Christ is also true in me. Why? Because Paul says that let whatsoever mind that was in Christ be also in you. So if Christ is in you, then whatever is true in Christ be true in you. That's why 2 Corinthians chapter 5, 2 Corinthians 10, 5, 3 to 5, I will quote 5, that says, bringing all your every thought into the captivity of the obedience of Christ. Notice, when Paul said, I beat my body down, now it starts to make sense. You see, a Christian man is one who is conscious of the fight around him, because he realized without Christ he will fail. So therefore, he keeps a mind towards Christ at all times, that he may continue to walk. Now watch this out. He said, John says in 34, he says, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye may also love one another. We know this famous commandment. This was what Christ said to his disciples just before he went to the cross. Why didn't he remind them about the Sabbath and about all these things? Because he knew if they love others as he has loved them, then sin cannot take hold. And now I beseech thee, lay not as though I wrote a new commandment unto thee, but that which we had from the beginning, love one another. Help one another. And Peter, in essence, says, seeing ye have purified your soul in obeying the truth, that the Spirit is unfeigned love of the brethren. Love one another with a pure and fervent heart. Above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity covers a multitude of sin. Here again, Peter says that love is what defeats sin. Nothing else. It is not by me trying to follow 10 points, but it's by me loving you defeats sin.
Now,